So, they always say don't judge a book by its cover, and I believe that to the fullest as well.
Here we go.
But I'm not gonna lie. Opening their Tapology page, I was like, I think I could accurately guess the line here. I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing. Going through this fight and actually doing some analysis. Roxanne is a beast, an actual beast, and I'm not taking anything away from her. She's actually, surprisingly been in the fight game since 2003, which I had no idea. She made it to 2 Ultimate Fighter finales, I believe, and she won one of them. She holds a 3-3 record in the UFC, and man, all of them are credible fights from what I saw. Her losses are, Lauren Murphy, Jennifer Maia, and Sijara Eubanks, people who we're very familiar with within the last year. And even her wins are even more credible. She has the younger Shevchenko sister. She has Andrea Lee. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what she brings next Wednesday. On the flip side, we have Viviane, who made her UFC debut back in 2019, and she's gone 3-1 since. We saw her take on Montana De La Rosa back in February, and she looked quite dominant in that unanimous victory. So, I think this is going to be a lot better of a fight than has kind of been coined. What do you kind of see here?
Yeah, so just a quick little recap there. So she participated in one Ultimate Fighter, and the one that she actually ended up fighting on a card that was for a championship, one of those classic back-to-back cards. So she ended up fighting on the card for the Ultimate Fighter 28 and won that fight against Barb Honchak, just to kind of touch back on that. But classic case of just overall, old school fighter. The record shows it. She's a part-time teacher. She loves the fight game. We've seen enough tape on her. The big thing I want to say is the last finish was on the Ultimate Fighter against Jessica Rakoczy, a Canadian who disappeared after going 0-2 after tough. So, she's tough. She can fight anywhere. And she usually beats up these striking prospects, man. Like, I've seen a few of these fights, and, we go back to Andrea Lee. Shout out to Jillian Robertson. This is the girl that Jillian Robertson wants to get a fight back with. But Andrea Lee, basically kind of got tired by the third round. The combos weren't landing as much as the coaches wanted. They were kind of yelling for that towards the end of the second, just to land a bit more, maybe even steal the rounds if she could, without maybe knocking out, because I don't think that was going to happen, and they knew that too. But just being able to mix it up got Roxanne that win. She was able to take it to the ground. There were some repulses, and the ground game was good. Overall, it's just she's always a tough fight. And I think if you're not ready for just that overpowering ground game that she kind of has, and be able to kind of dictate some pace there, she just takes over. She's able to eat those punches, right? And that's the thing. If she's able to eat them, not really getting beat up, that's something you got to worry about. The one thing on Araujo's side is when you think about how she looked in the third round against Montana De La Rosa, I really liked what she looked like. Montana De La Rosa was getting beat up. If you rewatch that fight, the commentators were kind of talking about how, she has a beat up nose, like this is something normal that's happening. But let's be real, in that third round, the punches were landing. Like, I know Montana Rosa was making a few she had a good few spurts there where she looked good, but at the end of the day, Araujo really took it to her, and that third round kind of separates her and Andrea Lee. And I think that if she's able to kind of keep that pace in her own back pocket and avoid those takedowns a bit more. And because once you're fighting out of those, when you're up against the fence, when you're in those clinches, that's where you lose the energy, right? And so as a striker, if you're not able to, keep that energy going all 3 rounds, you're going to lose that crispness. You're going to lose the technical aspects of it. Those combos aren't going to be happening as much. You're not going to be able to throw them, right? And I think in her case, that's going to be a big part of it. So, 2 canceled bouts against a fairly big name in Jennifer Maia, who just got a title shot, one of the biggest lines we've seen to date. First time travel restrictions, second time she had COVID. So, she's had a few fights lined up. Like, she's supposed to be taking on some pretty big names. So I still do like her as a favorite here, but we'll talk about that in a second here.
Yeah, let's segue right into it. How big of a favorite do you see here?
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So Roxanne, for me, this whole card is screaming, figure out who the dogs are and start rolling, right? Because this is a fight where we do see, Roxanne probably falling in another dog category against a good striking prospect, but let's go, Araujo. Closer to another pick-em, maybe a -120, -115. I have written -110. Final call, -115. Let's say that.
How about -334?
Wow, no respect, man. No respect.
No, that's what diving deeper into this, I'm like, man, maybe they set the odds based on these Tapology pictures themselves, because this is no respect to Roxanne here.
Yeah, so I mean, here's the thing, right? Like we really do kind of have to look more into the Araujo grappling then. Like that's really what it comes down to, right? When you look at the pure strikers, Roxanne has really good experience against them. And I think we see some defense from Araujo, but at the same time, it's like she really does enjoy keeping the fight standing. And if those takedowns do come Roxanne's way and she's able to get that ground and pound going, I mean, who knows? We could be seeing an upset. But again, just based on that line and based on what we're saying, this isn't one of those, guy fights where we have that huge puncher's chance availability and all that kind of stuff. Like this is a very interesting line to kind of watch movement on and see what happens. But I mean, wow, good on Araujo for being a big fighter like that going into this main card. But I gotta say, I thought Roxanne kind of earned her keep a little bit in that last fight, and I thought the lines would reflect that. So I gave her some bump here, but unfortunately, I thought it's a lot worse. So what's the final line we're looking at for Roxanne?
Yeah, so for Roxanne, it is a plus 250.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So, I was actually surprised at how large this line was as well. And, the one thing that I kind of want to look out for, it's not out there yet, but I could see this fight going the distance for sure.
Yep,
so
agreed.
Depending on what odds we can get there, that's something I would look into for sure.
Mm-hmm. Because in terms of punching power, I mean, I do see Roxanne being able to take some punches here. Andrea Lee had some good punches land. That fight was relatively close, I think, in some people's opinion, but at the end of the day, the scorecards did speak volumes, and I think, Roxanne earned that big time.
For sure. That wraps up UFC Fight Island 8. Make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that bell button. All our information's below. Instagram, Twitter. Give us a follow, like, subscribe, shoot us comments, whatever you need. Anything else you want to plug here, Suraj?
I mean, plenty of dogs on this card, so it might not be as exciting as some of the picks that we released for the upcoming card on Saturday, but keep an eye out. This card is a lot of fun fights. Forget the gambling stuff. This is a very fun card to watch. You got two contenders, headlining, and like Pi said, follow. We got plenty of MMA stuff coming out, and as always, man, it's always a pleasure, man. Love doing this shit with you. Can't wait to keep going.
Likewise, brother. And yeah, like you said, man, we get this on a Wednesday. It's a real treat. We're going to have to sacrifice watching the challenge that night. But, we get a nice UFC treat on a Wednesday. So enjoy it. And yeah, always a pleasure, brother.
My man. Take it easy. Peace.
Later.